All right, the July 16th Middleton Tourism Commission meeting is officially called to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval / discussion, if needed, of the minutes from May 21st.
Oh, hold on. I can do this. Sorry. I'll pull up the agenda.
Ah, yes.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, put up too.
Oh, I got it.
Got it?
There we go. All right.
You got any
Minutes.
additions, questions? Like to make a motion?
I wasn't here, so I feel weird making a motion.
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
All right, the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the grant application for the Good Neighbor Festival. It's like they're requesting $2,500 to cover the cost of the Middleton Fire Company's fee to use Fireman's Park for the 3-day festival, Destination Partnership Grant.
We have Ryan here from Good Neighbor Fest as well. Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Hi, Ryan.
So as you guys know, they applied for and were granted a $5,000 grant if they were going to do the Guinness Book of World Records cream pie thing. Well, that ended up not being able to happen. And so they reached out and asked if we would consider a grant to cover this cost, which this is new. They haven't, to my knowledge, right, Ryan? You've never been charged this before?
No, it's a brand new thing that we've never had to cover. And of course, not just that, but a lot of other things costs are up this year as well. And this additional $2,500, kind of came out of left field and is being required of us.
Just to a little context, Fireman's Park used to be under the city's purview, and it was the fire department took over ownership. And so what's happening now is they are leasing the park back to the city, is how I understand it. And then, but any events that are happening there have to be approved and go through a permit with the fire department. So the fire department is charging the $2,500 for electric, I believe it is, electric use.
No, that's just
during
$2,500 for the fee, which
Oh, just a
includes
fee?
up to $500 for electric. But if it goes above the 500, then that'll be an additional fee.
Okay,
It's the fire company, not the fire department.
sorry, fire company, thank you.
Fire company number one,
Yes, correct.
Yes,
it's a nonprofit.
And, just of note, I guess, or to get on record, we did go through and look at our art fair vendors. And we currently have 22 folks that are registered that are more than 2 hours away. And registrations come in daily at this point. So it's still not 100% full. I think we're at 80-some% full as far as space goes. And, like I said, right now we have 22 vendors that are more than 2 hours away. Whatever concession that may have. I know there's numerous other people that come in from out of town. I'm aware of at least 4 different class reunions going on that weekend. They're specifically going on because Good Neighbor Fest is going on that weekend. One of them being a pretty big deal with 1975, I think was the year, but it's a rededication of the art mural. And most of the attendees are from a long ways out of town, like they're flying in for the weekend. So they definitely will be staying. I do not have
Hotel-wise.
on that though.
Sorry, have you guys had any reunion room blocks that you know?
Yeah, so we've had a couple inquiries related to them. I don't know that any of them are contracted yet. But there's definitely some reunion activity going on.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that helps
Yeah, it does.
too. I mean,
We've had our class reunions down there too, so. That's your brother.
Good plan.
motion.
Yeah, does anybody Any more discussion on it, or would you like to make a motion?
I mean, we were going to give 5,000 for the pie in the face or
Yes.
whatever, which sounded amazing to me. This is half of that, and even more so if there's been inquiries for room nights, I feel like that's the tie. I think there hasn't really been that tie in the past when there's been an ask, which is obviously where this money comes from. So I'll make a motion to approve the $2,500 to the Neighbor Fest to help cover the cost of renting Fireman's Park.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2,500. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And just,
I'll follow. Sorry, go
if
ahead.
you guys care, the reason the Guinness thing is off is just because of their inefficiencies and how long it takes them to process. So they're claiming to need 18 to 24 months notice to get a Guinness Book of World Record in place. So,
I've done pie in the face for fundraising in the past and can put it together in 8 minutes if you need some help.
well, no, the logistics of it is pretty simple, but it's the whole getting Guinness
The marketing
World
and
Records
the,
on board that you know. So maybe a few years from now, that'll be on the agenda again. But 18 to 24 months, I guess, is where we're at. So from their
Sounds
timeline.
good.
So. But thank you
Well,
so much.
I'll follow up with a letter and it'll basically just state what we've talked about today. And then you would just need to submit an invoice and we'll get that processed as soon as possible.
Okay, and that invoice, the information will be in that letter for that too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
All right.
thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. I'm gonna drop off if that's okay.
Absolutely.
No, you have to listen to our budget meeting, you get your money.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the grant application for Strolling Middleton Jazz 2-day event. Early September, on Horace Green, seeking $5,000.
Yep, we have Jolyn with us again from the Art Lit Lab. They're the ones that we worked with last year on this. And last year was a 1-day event. And this year they're bringing it back up to 2. And last year we granted 5,000 and we split it up. So we did 3,000 in one grant and 2,000 in another. And my recommendation is that we just make it a 5,000 destination partnership grant. The criteria for the tourism marketing and development grant, hopefully in the future will be more broad, but right now it really is more for things that are at a hotel. So it would make more sense and it'd be easier to track rather than knowing I have to go back and forth between 2 grants for the same event. And if you have any questions about the details of the event, Jolyn added, that attachment gives a very detailed explanation of everything. And their post-event report last year was very well done. They tried really hard to survey people.
Yeah, that's
the hardest part.
And last year was a 1-day event this year, and they got $5,000 last year for a 1-day. This is expanded back out to a 2-day.
Yes. A lot of the feedback last year from businesses and
that was going to
Jolyn,
be my question.
yeah, Jolyn, jump in whenever you want to. Feedback from businesses last year was they really missed the crawl, business to business, having music going on at different businesses like Louisiana's and Long Table, like who normally always hosted. I think Mustard Museum did too. And so they really kind of wanted it to come back for that. And then one of the other points of feedback, they're going to save some money this year on having I don't remember exactly what all they're not doing, but last year they had a lot of kiddie things going on at the park, and they're not doing quite so many of those. They're focusing on this being a jazz festival. And so that's going to save significant amounts of money, I think, in supplies.
Yeah. with
Yeah,
my chamber hat on, I mean, if the businesses are seeing benefit to an event, I mean, it's the people who are coming in are actually buying things and aren't trying to, rough up the place, which can happen. You know what I'm saying? It's a wholesome event. Um, my chamber hat is like, yes, let's help the businesses in downtown.
Jolene, were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to specify that the change from the events would be not having, we had fabric dyeing and indigenous beadwork and, recycled sculpture going on last time. And so, we had added that during the grand opening to think that, that would draw, more families out for the grand opening of the green. But I think, the decision to focus our energies on having the second night of jazz and include more businesses, get people walking around the downtown more again. So that it does hopefully, remind people that that's, the purpose, get people downtown shopping, going out to restaurants. And we're gonna move more food carts this time too. So we'll have like food carts both of the nights. Again, hoping that it draws more people in for the event. But it's still very family friendly. I just, even though we're taking out the art activities specifically, strolling, for all the years it's happened, has always drawn a lot of families out to the green and, kids dancing with the music. So I think it will still be a good draw for all ages.
It's also the same Saturday as the home Badger game, but that is a day game. So it'll be over well before this begins. So, and we generally get the traveling teams staying here in
I
Middleton.
do.
And so if we put a
Oh.
lot of strolling jazz promo stuff up in the hotels, it gives people something to do that night,
It's a great idea. I like that.
you know?
Yeah, I think it's South Dakota.
Yeah, they're not a huge traveling
No,
team.
but still. You
For the jazz fans,
Well, some football. But- Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea.
Who's responsible for that marketing? Getting that, I mean, does Strong,
Oh, so that's a good question. So Jolyn and I are going to sit down and figure out, they've already secured some like local radio ads,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But we're going to sit down and talk about the broader marketing plan, because 3,000 of this will go toward the talent fees and 2,000 for marketing. So we're going to talk about the marketing plan beyond Dane County. It'll be very digital forward to reach that, and posters and all of that. So we're going to sit down and create a plan together.
okay. And are the hotels usually, Jim, you guys can help me out with this, like pretty open if there are pieces specific for like the weekends that people are staying to put like that information in the rooms, or how it, like what's the marketing to the
So we
overnight
were talking about posters for the hotels like you receive for sporting events, but also to ask the hotels if any of you have, your internal commercial thing where you have slideshows and stuff, we could make, a slide for you to incorporate into that, talking about stroll and jazz. Depending on what your dimensions are, but it would pretty much be, essentially it's a PDF or a PowerPoint slide. That's what people would ask. Yeah. Todd?
Well, we don't have any digital boards in our hotels, but, I mean, we wouldn't have a problem putting out flyers and stuff like that.
Especially that weekend, because you're going to potentially have a lot of out-of-towners
exactly.
descending upon you that weekend.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of town money flowing in Middleton.
Yes.
Desk would be effective.
All right.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve. The $5,000 being requested.
Get a second.
Miller will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Yay. All right, Joel, I'll follow up with that letter, and I will remember to email you a calendar invite for our next meeting, because we just met.
great.
But we'll start talking about the marketing plan.
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Dylan.
September.
Okay. Election.
Ooh.
All right, I'll run this. Because that would be weird for you.
Yes, it will.
So generally speaking, with commissions and committees, you actually elect all 4 offices. This is my annual reminder that I serve as secretary and treasurer because only city employees can access Cassell and On Base and all of those. So you get off the hook on that. So we only vote for a chairperson and a vice chair. It's open to anybody. If anybody wants to throw their hat in. Jim has been serving for 2-3 years now. Something, whenever Corey left.
Mhm.
And right now Kevin is our vice chair. It's not a job that requires a ton of paperwork, but I probably contact you more often than I do the committee as a whole. In fact, we have some budget things we have to sit down and kind of talk about before. And so that's kind of what the job is. Jim, do you want to throw your hat in again for another year?
Sure.
Okay, I'll nominate you there. Anybody else want to be nominated? Jose, do you have a?
I would
Single-
like to keep it the same if Kevin and Jim are willing to do it for another year.
I'm
Kevin?
fine.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, well, this is gonna be super easy.
Approve,
I'm not
approve.
gonna do this correctly because I never remember how to do this, but, for Jim Strom as our chairperson serving from July through, well, technically it was supposed to be June of 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. I'm pretty sure we don't have anybody. You're it.
All right.
All right, next up. So, all in favor of Kevin being our vice chairperson from now serving through June of 2025. All in favor say aye.
I
All
Any nays? Oh, I saw a hand up, but that was for the aye. Good job.
right.
All right, Kevin, congrats.
All right.
You are both our fearless leaders yet again. They don't get anything extra special for it, by the way. You all get
You
the
can get
same
an extra
job
thing of
done.
peanuts on your way out.
Thank you for doing
Um,
another year, though, both of you.
Yes, thank you both.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Use a Cisco VPN here.
Hmm?
Use a Cisco VPN.
Yep.
Okay. I was wondering why that popped up on my computer.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
use.
didn't know it popped up on.
Yeah.
Strangers, or-
Umbrella,
Stranger.
Umbrella
You're not a
is
stranger.
active.
I thought it was just a shitty
Probably
thing.
good. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, that's.
Hotel updates.
Generally speaking, it's been a pretty good summer thus far.
Yeah.
I think occupancy has continued the first quarter trend, at least into April and May and June, really. July is also trending pretty decent thus far. I mean, we're ahead of prior year. And again, it's on the strength of occupancy. ADR is not where we would like it to be, and not where it was in the past year or two. So, but with that said, I mean, it seems like we're seeing RevPAR growth. August is a little unnerving at this point. We don't have a ton on the books from a pace standpoint. Not that we're way off of pace, but it's,
Is it because CrossFit?
well, I'm sure that's definitely a part of it.
Because that's usually the first week of August.
Yeah. But you know, generally speaking, I think right now the summer continues to look pretty good. I think again, it's on the strength of transient for us anyway. My 3 hotels, but it's so weird. I mean, and I think it's a little bit of a funny mix because, and they joke that it's which side of the tracks are you on already, because we definitely are doing better at the Residence Inn in the Hilton Garden Inn than what we're seeing at the Courtyard. Courtyard for the last couple of months has really struggled from rate and occupancy. And in my experience, you know, occupancy's actually been up, but we've taken it a severe hit in rate, whereas the other hotels didn't have to fade nearly as much. But and I find it interesting because I think the Courtyard's the nicest of the 3 hotels.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice.
From a
Well, all 3 of them
condition,
were completely renovated.
Yeah.
They're all beautiful.
but it's been interesting. But generally speaking, I think 2024 has turned out thus far to be a decent year. I mean, nothing to be disappointed about by any stretch. we would just like to see more ADR. We like the occupancy, we'd like to see the stronger ADR though.
Yeah, our strength at my property is group, and group, we're looking at a record group year. This year would be a high water mark going back the last 10 years. So we're looking at possibly breaking 30,000 group room nights this year. The previous high being about 28.5. Todd did mention August being down. We are behind pace in August as well. It didn't help that we lost Western Michigan football. They were on the books, but then when they changed the game to a Friday night game, it makes their arrival now a Thursday night. And I've got the Wisconsin, the municipal clerks, I think, got us sold out on Thursday night. So we had to, break that contract with them. They ended up downtown at the concourse. So unfortunately, that's the first football team we lost to downtown in a long, long time. But it wasn't due to anything about our location or anything like that. But all of our success is coming from group. We obviously struggled really hard against your guys' properties on the weekends. We've got ideal products for leisure travelers. The rates right in line, and the amenities that are included are right in line with what families are looking for. So, we struggle with transient, but like I said, the group is the bright side. So ADR is pretty flat right now to last year. I think we're looking at about a $2 increase on our budget, and we're probably running about $1.50 right now. So we got a little bit of ground to make up on that too. But overall, so far, it's been a great year.
Are you seeing any impact from the RNC?
No.
They just kind of really went flat.
They did.
I know one property that the day before their cutoff, 1 month cutoff,
Yep.
$340,000 in room nights dropped
Oh my God. Oh,
just from the RNC. Glad I wasn't on that budget call.
Yeah, and to participate, you probably had to offer it for courtesy too, so that they could.
No attrition.
Yeah, of course.
They wouldn't sign an attrition.
Yeah, what a risk, Oh, that's terrible. That gives me
It just means next
ulcer
time
just thinking about it. Actually.
they won't no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, wow. Thank goodness it wasn't me to you.
Yikes.
But no, we didn't see anything from it. I know that there were some inquiries that went out looking for some supporting blocks, and we just looked at it as a team. Like every single hotel in Madison is between us and Milwaukee. I mean, you're gonna hit the east side long before you hit downtown, long before you make it to Middleton. So we seemed like we made the right call.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it for hotel updates for me. Director updates, I think.
Yes, okay. A few things. First, okay, that goes under there. Okay, good. So, logo. We've been working for several years now to get both our logos trademarked. We finally have the official certification for the icon or the bug logo. The horizontal is in the last stages, so I'll let you know, but that's finally, and it's wonderful too, because it's a lot to just keep, because every few months you have to submit something else, then you're watching for it, and then you get charged attorney fees. So I'm very excited about wrapping that up soon.
Yeah.
Personnel, we made an offer of employment to a marketing manager candidate, and they accepted.
All right.
So the start date will be September 9th. They have let their current employer know, but they've asked for a little bit more time because they wanted to let, some other people that they work with know. So it'll be a couple of weeks before I can release that name, but they are from this area. They know the area very, very well. They've been in marketing specifically for several years. And so very excited to have somebody coming on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like
I feel ya.
I was talking to somebody, and I've now been director for 2 years, and of that, about 13 months worth, I've been both marketing manager and director.
Mhm.
So I'd really like to actually get to some of the goals that I've set 2 years ago. Like, I'd love to get to one of those. So it'll be good. Middleton Nordic Center update. So Yuri did submit a quarterly report a couple weeks ago. It's not, I've kind of gotten through it, but I have a few follow-up questions for him. He is planning a running event this fall because he didn't get a winter event planned because they kept thinking that they were going to break ground, and they are still not breaking ground. there are a lot of issues there with, the CXC team not submitting permits, as they go, and then they're due, or, there's a lot going on. And so they're finally kind of catching up, and I think the final renderings and the other thing too is they've changed the design so many times. And the final renderings are going to be approved soon. And he was also talking about signage. So I do have one quick thing to show you if I can pull it up.
When you say approved soon, is that like approved by them or like going
The
through the
city.
city process?
The
Okay.
city. Let me see here. I have that. I think I accidentally, there it is. All right. Sorry, trying to find where it's located. So this is one thing that we can finally get going. So we gave a grant for signage many, many years ago, and the trail signs are getting put up. And he sent me this, and he said that this is basically how all of these things go. And how it would, like, this is the CXC logo, and then I think this is, I don't know if they're having like sponsor logos or what. And then our logo would go down on here because we are the ones who's pretty much sponsored paying for them. And so I approved it. I was like, if that's what they're supposed to look like, this is how outdoorsy I am. I don't think I've ever noticed one of these things. So this is going through the approval process through the city as well. So of course, if there is an issue, the city will catch it. But I was like, I'm totally fine with just our bug logo there on there. I didn't even know our logo was gonna get on the sign, so I kind of felt like that's just a boom.
Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. People,
Yeah.
like, hopefully that will trigger people to be like, what else is going on? Let me check. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then the other thing too is he wanted me to confirm that we wanted so like there's different naming things going on. So the main building is going to be the Middleton Nordic Center. And he was like, do we need to incorporate the Visit Middleton logo in with that? And my reaction to that was no, because I didn't think Visit Middleton, Middleton Nordic Center, or the Visit Middleton Nordic Center, like with a combined logo would make sense for marketing. Because we want it to be easy to remember and easy to recognize. If you guys disagree with that, we can totally talk about it and work with an artist. He also asked if we didn't want our actual logo part of it or incorporated into it, would we like to make the signage on the building reflective of the font choices and color choices that we use for our logo. So these are all things that I thought I will just come to you guys and ask if you have any feelings about that before getting back to him. I mean, we could call it the Visit Middleton Nordic Center, but I feel like some people are going to then wonder if that's a visitor center.
This may be getting us way into the weeds. So somebody feel free to reel me in.
Mhm.
But rather than having our name on the building, because Visit Middleton Nordic Center it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Could we get some sort of agreement where we can have, if they have like a digital display or something where like we can push some of the other events that are going around in the community
Oh.
seasonally that's displaying there. Because people will be in there, right?
I would hope so, yeah.
And so then they can check
I'll
out
ask
what else
about
is going
that.
on.
I did say that we would like some sort of recognition, either on the building or inside, because I know that they're going to have to do some sort of a plaque situation for the big donors. And so I'm like, just make sure we're incorporated into that, because right now I think we're up to $305,000 because we've done 3 grants. And so I'm like, whatever tier level that is, we should be recognized the same as anybody else would be. And I don't know if they have a plan for that. You know, some people do bricks, some people do a donor wall. I don't know. But I just wanted to make sure that we weren't forgotten when they got to that point.
I think it'd be awesome if seasonally, if they're gonna have it open in like different events every season, if seasonally, like as part of your marketing process, you can just push like, this is what we're doing for the spring things going on in Middleton and like
Oh,
somehow,
events.
yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be super hard for me to, oh, 1 second. Christy, Ryan jumped on and we've already voted on that grant. We did that first. It was one of the first things on the agenda, and Good Neighbor Fest did receive the grant. Just so you know.
She is speechless.
Okay.
She's so excited.
Just didn't want anyone sitting in on a very long meeting. They didn't have to. But anyway, lately what we've been doing is we've been doing a Facebook reel that has the week's events. And so maybe we just start sending them that MP3 and they can include that too.
I mean, if they
Yeah,
would be
whatever
willing
their
to do that.
marketing,
Yeah.
like capabilities are going to be, whether it's, you
I
know,
don't wanna-
kiosks
yeah.
or,
I'm
I'm sure
okay-
they don't know yet.
Yeah,
but-
submitting those same events to him, however he wants to receive it would be great. I don't know if they're going to have any sort of in-house person that does any of those things. I also don't want to become their marketing person.
100%. I
And
don't want to
so-
make more work
yeah,
for you
and
guys.
so-
I'm just saying if there's a way
But
that,
submitting those
or
events.
even if it's, you know, something that's static, that's like, we have,
or
we're
QR
happening
code
here.
to our
Make
event
sure you
calendar.
check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, QR code,
Yeah.
visit.
And he's been great about that for other events. Like he's put out anything we gave him. We bought a feather last year and I think we're gonna buy one more and we were actually thinking specifically for things like golfing events or cross-country ski events, throwing the Visit Middleton feather.
Yep.
It's actually really pretty. It turned out really well. And we did that locally. That was Ingot.
Think it
You
means
get the name?
Yep.
Mhm.
So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're okay with that, we're gonna keep it Middleton Nordic Center. Think about it. I'll let you have some time to think about whether or not you're like, yeah, they should incorporate colors, or no, they should. I think that for marketing purposes, they need everything to be
I
standard.
agree. I don't think they need to do that.
And personally, the only reason why I really wanted naming rights is so that it didn't wind up being like Fred Jones's ski shop or whatever. Like I wanted it to have the name Middleton in it so that people didn't confuse us with Madison.
Yep. Check.
Okay, great. The next thing on my list is strategic plan, which I have not gotten to. I reached out to a few people for some ideas. I got a lot of the same names back, and there are people who do a lot of the same planning for a lot of DMOs, and I specifically want someone who isn't doing
Mhm.
plans for every DMO in South Central Wisconsin. So I've got to keep going on that, and so when we get to the budget, you're gonna notice I'm rolling the strategic plan back into the budget for a second time.
I am happy to, so, through the certification training that I did over
Mhm.
4 years, there are a ton of DMOs from around the country. I'm happy to like, if you want to reach out, I'm happy to
Yeah.
connect you. Like, if you want to reach out to somebody from like Houston or California and like, hey, who did you guys use? I can try to make that connection.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Because my fear is I'm just gonna get the same catered
Same with you.
plan.
Yep.
And,
Well,
and even though in Wisconsin, we all work together very, very well, and it's all about like everybody doing well helps everyone else do well. It's not gonna help us at all if we have the same sports meeting plan as the next guy.
100% agree.
So just so you know, and a lot of that, I mean, I haven't been able to focus on that the way I need to. I think next is. Oh no, did I lose the agenda? Hold on.
Directors updates and then visitors.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing is the visitor guide contract. So, the visitor guide with Nye Turner, we budgeted 40 grand. They came back to me with just a little over 20, but $200 per page for a redesign. And I was hoping to redesign several of the pages this year because we've used the same design for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So they sent me a contract. I just got it yesterday, so it couldn't make it into the packet. But it's the exact same contract from last year, and we put the wordage in that it can't exceed $30,000.
is that a word? Worded?
Yes,
Not
it
a
is.
word.
It is today.
And so it can't exceed $30,000 because that gives me wiggle room to do some new design pages. But that does also include updates to the city map inside. We've updated trails this year and things like that, and so that map pretty much has to be updated every
Yeah.
single year. And last year it was a complete redesign. So the nice thing is that we actually have the file and we're not just photoshopping on top of a really old file. So just so you know, that's where we're at. If you guys are okay with that, you don't technically need to vote on it, but I wouldn't mind a vote because I do have to take the official contract before finance committee. And then that way I can say that the commission voted on this.
You're happy with
I
the,
loved working with them.
all right, they do good work. They're easy to work with. They create a good product.
And they stick to
You
their
two like
prices.
them and trust them. I don't
Yep.
see why we would.
Yeah. They've been fantastic to work with. And like last year, I think 2 years ago, the delivery guy messed up and he left everything on the street and Laura and I had to cart it all in. 8,000 copies.
No.
Wasn't it
And-
raining?
Yeah. It was,
Well, of course it was.
It was a special.
Were you
special
barefoot
day.
walking
It
backwards
was-
when you?
It was January too.
Yeah.
And so last year she was horrified about this. And so last year, like she went above and beyond. She changed delivery companies. And that guy was amazing. Like he had all the stuff and he dollied it in like
Yeah,
15 minutes.
He didn't
And
let
then
us
he
lift a finger.
packed it for us.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah, it was
can I
amazing.
get you something? Like, so they've been fantastic to work with. And they stick to their price. If we say it can't exceed 30,000, they make sure that, they're on top of it, that we aren't going to do that. And actually the 1 year when paper went up like crazy, they ended up eating some of that cost because they stuck to our contract. So I've been very, very happy with them.
I mean, if you want a vote, I am more than happy to make a motion to move forward with, is it Nye Turner?
Yes.
For the 2025 Visitors Guide based on the recommendations from staff.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Yay.
Aye.
So we'll get that officially before finance next month. And then we can dive into the new visitor guide when the new person starts.
I love seeing the new visitor guides.
It's
Like,
actually,
it's like getting the new Sears catalog when you're a kid for Christmas.
yeah, I love working on it. It's an intense amount of work at the end of the year when it feels like everything else is piling on, but it's super fun. And hopefully we'll have pictures this year of the 40th anniversary for you guys.
Oh, yeah,
Are you gonna do something?
we'll figure it out.
If you need help,
Oh, we've just got so many projects going on over there, like improvement. We've just been-
yeah. Well, if you need help planning a party, you got 3 people here who
Okay.
can
And
help.
get rebooking bands, because everything's been getting
Right.
rained
I know
out.
you've been rained out every
Fridays for
Friday.
Carnival.
Yeah,
It's been, I've been feeling so horrible for all the live music that everybody looks forward to all summer because it's always outside and everybody on the lake.
Yeah.
'Cause every weekend we've had some sort of crazy storm.
I
Yeah.
feel sorry for my Alexa in my house because when I ask her what the weather is, I swear at her like crazy, like it's her fault. Nonstop.
Okay.
I mean, we've had to cancel the bike rides, bands, it's like terrible.
I mean, that's gotta hit the bottom line too.
I
like-
appreciate your emails too, because when I
Really?
get them, I immediately go onto our website and I don't delete the event. I write canceled and then why. So if someone is looking on it going, but there was an event, I don't want them to think that they're crazy. I want them to know that it was canceled because of weather. So I've been trying to update our website every time I see that.
Yeah, people don't understand, like, you gotta make the call, like, you can't make the call at 5 o'clock, like,
Right.
we have bands coming from everywhere, Janesville,
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee, and
Well, you might have
We get all
someone driving in
irritated.
from somewhere far
that
away.
as well, so we try to get it out to them. We try to decide by noon, we do decide by noon at the latest. I should have get it on social media, but people, I think it was just because there's so many in a row, people were getting a little better.
Frustrated. It's not you. It's
No, they're
like they're
mad.
frustrated.
Yeah.
It comes out at you, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's not.
And we have the data, we have data from the last decade that a professor at UW did, and like, even if there's a threat of mist, people don't show. So we cancel, like, because they just don't show. They make other plans early in the
Yep.
day.
Yep.
Even if it does end up being nice, because it's Wisconsin, and you
Yeah.
never do know.
I mean, I would do the same
They
thing.
So-
still don't go.
If anybody wants to grab chips and stuff, we are now in the budget. So if you want some snacks.
I mean, I love
guac.
guac, and so I'm gonna take my pretzels out and dip it in.
There you go. So we can take a 2-minute break here while you guys grab your snackies. Get ready for this.
You want guac?
I'm hoping that it'll go pretty well because I
Can I
actually
reach and
didn't
get this?
increase the budget by a ton this year. So,
Let me just say it for
Yeah, like we've all been done
We
this
trust
for
ya.
2-3 years, 4 or 5. You've been
I'm
doing it for a
emotional.
decade or something.
A while.
well, I
It's usually
mean,
not cheap.
I brought the actual like breakdown thing. So if you're like, how much does Matt service cost? I can tell you. And
I've got to know that.
I finally took people's suggestions and I actually incorporated a little bit of a buffer in a couple of the budgets that I usually am like dying at the end of the year because I'm borrowing money from, printing to pay for advertising. So I added a little extra in there. So there's just always some amazing thing that I want to try. Okay.
Do you make a decision?
You got it. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of quickly go through this. This is just the top piece. And Jose, you're gonna have to yell if you need anything because they're crunching and stuff going on. So I might not hear you.
I'll try to.
There's no such thing as quiet eating.
I'll scream.
Okay, so thanks. Okay, so under marketing, I split the buckets out under basically themes. I do this every year just to make it a little easier. So, especially because almost every year we have at least one new person. So if you have questions, Todd, you just let me know. So advertising, I did increase this by, honestly, that's not a significant amount. This is going to be the first year that I'm increasing our digital and streaming ad budgets in Milwaukee, Chicago, and Iowa. So the last several years, we've stuck to the same amount of money and it's just not working. Like every couple of months, I'm on the phone with our marketing agency and we're trying to tweak and we're trying to move, or we're canceling a week early so that we can put a little extra money into a market. Because it's more, well, we knew this year would be expensive because of the election, but advertising is just more expensive. And because the last couple of years, I came to you with a budget where I was anticipating a deficit, I wasn't increasing the advertising. Well, I am not anticipating a deficit. And by the way, the last 2 years we weren't. The last 2 years we actually ended up in the green. And so I'm finally accepting the fact that maybe I don't have to be so scared. And so I did increase that. And that includes just raising those markets a little bit. And then I added a couple of projects as well back into it that I had canceled in order to pay for advertising this year. So I added those map projects back in. If we have, again, if I have a full-time marketing manager, I think we can probably get it done. I'd like to update the parking map because it's pretty terrible and it doesn't actually signify.
I agree.
Not
Not that it's terrible, but yes.
No, it's ugly. It's not at all what it was supposed to look like.
Mhm.
And we need to mark on there accessible parking because I really feel like it's the number one question that we receive. People are like, well, can you show us where the accessible parking is?
Can I jump in for a second?
Yes.
Also, I know that like the downtown businesses have, what we hear is there's no parking and there is parking.
Oh, yeah.
And I have beat my head against the wall about can we get wayfinding? Can we
We do
get-
know, we actually have signs that say where the parking is. People just
and
don't see it.
can we get to the neighborhoods? Like, here's all the parking. Or like when there's an event going on, here's all the parking. And this isn't on you guys as tourism. I'm just saying, like, if you guys
So-
have like a really nice piece,
We'll share it. And
yeah.
right now it's on the city and DMBA has used it too and Art Walk always uses it. I let anybody who wants it use it. There's a newspaper in town that used it without even asking. So like, we're just kind of like, let people know that there's parking. But I want it right now. Because there's no outlines of buildings, I really feel like it's not super helpful for a lot of people.
You need that.
Yeah, if you're a
Point of
visual
reference.
person, this is why you choose a
Yeah.
map.
And marks are
Yeah.
needed.
So I want to redo that. I also have added, the Historical Society is a huge asset. People are always asking for things. Jeff Martin, who passed away a couple years ago, was the one who created all of those flyers for them. I want to make them a brochure. I want to make them like our art trail map that we made. I want to make them one for landmarks
Cute.
and walking tour and add some QR codes on there and get them a Google map made. And I honestly don't think it's a ton of work because they've done it all. They have the photos. I'd like to retake some of those photos, but they have photos and they have descriptions. So they don't have the manpower. And so I just think that it wouldn't take a lot of internal effort and it wouldn't cost that much. So I added that in there because people love that.
Mhm.
I bet every other person who walks in picks up the history flyers, but they're really hard to follow
Yeah. And the print.
because it's like a number
big.
with an address and you're sitting there with your phone typing it into your, like, it's hard. So those kinds of projects got added back in. Now, one of the things I did not add in was we were talking about Discover Wisconsin, that commercial.
Oh, yeah.
That is about 60 grand. He did get back to me with more information. If you guys want to, it's anywhere from like 40 to 60, depending on like if you want to do the full commercial
It'll be
and
60.
media spots and whatever. If we want to, we can add it into the budget contingent on whether or not we decide we want to do it. Or we can just pass the budget as is. And if we decide we want to do this in 2025, we'll just vote on it and go before finance and get the money approved and pull it out of our tourism fund balance, which we have plenty of money in. So it's whichever one you guys are more comfortable with.
What's easier for staff?
Easier for me would be approving it now, because then I probably wouldn't have to go before finance.
That's what I thought.
But it all depends on what kind of, like if it's an agreement with them, I don't have to go before finance. If it is a full-on legal contract, I have to. If no one has to sign anything, then we can just go forward. And that's what I think it would be, because that's kind of like how my streaming and digital advertising works, right? I don't go before finance every time I pay the
Right.
money. That would defeat the purpose of a budget, honestly, because that would pretty much take up all of finance's life. So that would be easier, but
What would you want the motion to be if we were to approve it today?
well, if you approve it today, it's just part of the budget. But so in supplies, I have a little caveat in here that says there's $1,200 earmarked for a standing desk. And if we don't need it, I won't touch it. And I didn't the last 2 years. We haven't touched it. We're gonna have to buy one now because her desk is possessed. It just goes up and down by itself. And sometimes it's like 7 feet tall. She is not.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It's crazy. And we've unplugged it and it still does it. So it's possessed. But our 2 desks are also the oldest ones. And so they're possible, those could go out. So in that case, it's a holding me accountable of at the end of the year when I'm going through the budget, just so you know, we have $1,200 left over in supplies because I didn't pay it. We can do something like that.
Could it be like we approve it being part of the budget? And, you know, if there will be a discussion moving forward to like understand what the viewership is and like that
We
type
still
of
have to approve
thing.
the agreement anyway, right? Just because we do a
Yes.
placeholder of the money, we
I mean,
still
I
have to
think we
approve the
place all the
agreement.
money.
Yes.
I'll,
So-
I'll make a
Yeah,
motion
yeah.
if that's what we need
Okay,
to
so
place hold
add
the
that
money.
back
They're
in.
gonna want a signature for
Placeholder.
60 grand, I think.
Okay.
Awesome.
That is just for me later. And this is not the final budget. We'll be voting on the final budget in August.
Okay.
And it's technically due to the city the Friday before, but they're letting me turn it in that Wednesday after. So that we don't have to move our meeting up a whole week, which I'm very, very, very grateful for. Okay, so I'll make that change. I'll add 60 to that, but I'll add the little contingent upon approval of a future agreement, et cetera. Public relations, I only brought this up a little bit because I felt like this is our sweepstakes. And I felt like I was rubbing up against that 10-5 really close every single year. And so this way it'll just give me a little bit more leeway on the advertising. Brochure expenses I brought down because I'm hoping that we'll get enough of it redesigned this year that next year it'll just be partial. And and we'll probably be closer to the 23, 25 mark. But I left it here just because I have no idea what's going to happen. Like again, that year when paper costs quadrupled, all of a sudden our printing went crazy. And so I never know. But again, I don't spend it if the agreement doesn't come. It just ends up going right back into our tourism fund balance. Printing definitely went up, and I can show you a little bit of why. So here are some of the things. We want to do more visitor guide postcards this year, and some of that is too for, we want to make sure we actually earmark some for the chamber because you were using them for workforce recruitment. And then we added stickers. So we did a special sticker for Bachfest this year, and I thought it went over well. I thought it was really cute that you stuck them in the mugs and I saw them places. So we wanted to put that as like an actual part of this. And then reprinting a lot of our brochures and some of the new ones. This is a new project. I saw this idea, and that was, there was a destination that had these like little 2.5 by 2.5 square cards for events. One side it was a QR code with their cute, like with a logo, and the other side it was like a cute little thing about like following our events. And I thought we have a really hard time getting businesses, because there's no counter space, getting businesses to have visitor guides and things, but putting those cute little cards, which will cost not very much. I mean, I can design them and it'll cost practically nothing to print them. So I added that in there. So there are just a few little extra things. And website isn't changing. That is just our regular, we pay a maintenance fee for webmaster and domain fees, and once a year, I try to update a couple of our videos on our website. Meals isn't changing, supplies isn't changing, postage, we aren't changing even though postage went up because we aren't coming close to that budget. So we're gonna keep it the same and hope that we don't go over. Communications, I didn't change it because I looked in the last 2 years and we haven't exceeded that.
Yes.
Building ground maintenance, this seems to be pretty much the perfect amount. I think we'll come under this a little bit, but that gives us buffer for, like last year, we had to fix the air conditioning. And so it just, and we had to trim a tree. Or was that the beginning of this year? I don't remember. But there's always like a crazy thing that happens to this depot. And we didn't used to have buffer money in there, so I just kind of like leave it in there. It's actually reserved for a project I'd like to do, and make at least one of these offices soundproof. Because right now I can't like have a private meeting with an employee. I have to send somebody up to the front. But instead of, I haven't been doing it because I've been using the money to fix things that are breaking. Training is staying the same, travel is staying the same. The funny thing you're gonna notice when I do give my final budget report to you guys for this year is we did not use that money very much this year because I had budgeted for the marketing manager and myself to have professional development and for me to go to Destinations International for the first time. And I'm not doing any of those things. Destinations International would be this week. Esto was going to be the week that I'm moving, and then we have a photo shoot and I still don't have a marketing manager, so I just canceled all my stuff. Because I can't, my anxiety level couldn't handle it, like being gone for 5 days and then coming back and having to dig out. So we're actually, like, it's gonna look like we don't need that money, but that's because we didn't use it this year. We saved it. Mileage, we don't really ever touch because we use the company car. Utilities is fine. Research, this is that high because this is the 3-year strategic plan where we budgeted $50,000. Oh, let me see if I can minimize this so that you can see better. Oh no, I can't. Didn't work. Software is staying the same. I don't think that will go up. Laura actually helped negotiate a lower rate for one of our softwares. We had a 3-person registration, and she's just going to take full ownership, and it's saving us a couple of grand. And so that money can now be used for the marketing manager to have an Adobe subscription and a Canva subscription. Motor fuel, I went down a little bit because we really aren't going through that much. We aren't driving as much as I thought we would. Insurance, I don't even handle that, so I just left it. When Burns tells me to raise it, I will. And vehicle expenses, this is like, oil changes and things. And again, when someone tells me it needs to go higher, that's what I will.
Did you guys get a new, like, wasn't there something about a new vehicle?
Okay, so we are supposed to get a new vehicle like next year, and that will be a much larger conversation with the commission. Because the city wants us to go green, so they definitely would like us to have an e-car. They are open to the conversation of the fact that we need a hybrid because there aren't enough chargers north, which is at the time where we're going. And we could be stalled at a gas station for like 3 hours.
Forest somewhere stuck.
Especially in the winter.
So a hybrid,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing too, because we don't have a
This is
garage.
Middleton Cybertruck.
So if you
Yeah.
have an all-electric vehicle and you
It's
don't have a
freezing.
garage, it's not gonna be it won't
No.
be a happy story. So hybrid, I'm 100% behind the idea of a hybrid, but the current vehicle, so it did get totaled out this year. So if anything else happens, it's just getting towed away.
What'd you do?
Backed up into a tow truck.
We really did.
Yeah, well, it was parked and it was at the actual like mock building. I ran in quick. What was I doing?
You're picking it up after an oil change.
No, I think I was dropping it in. Well, whatever. But I was picking it up. I ran into the garage. There was no tow truck outside while I ran into the garage. Got the keys. Somebody opened the garage for me. I back up and I backed right into it. So in that like minute that I ran in, and then I thought the guy opening the garage might be like, oh, he like literally watched the whole thing happen. But I also didn't look.
Do you think that it was like the universe knowing, like, you're gonna need a tow truck because there was gonna be an accident and just happened to be the accident was with the tow truck?
I just like left it there because it's like, okay, they're gonna need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suck
that
this thing
sucks.
up.
She was okay, which is the only thing
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
matters.
that sucks.
Because, it's a car.
Yeah.
But if the good thing is that insurance covered all of it. So we didn't end up having to pay for anything. The city figured it out. And the city guys are so amazing because they're working with all of these vehicles. So they knew exactly who to call. And the insurance company was all like, they stated all these things. And I went out and I got under it. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this muffler. Like, it doesn't even barely have a scratch. And they were like totaling all these things out. So the city people got involved and we got it all figured out and it didn't cost us anything, but it's now no longer fully.
I'd like a
it
new
can't
car.
be
Can
full
you run
coverage.
mine into it like that?
Like, it's on
This
its
will be
little
figured
last
out.
legs. But it's been such a good car and it has such low mileage
So
that
it serves its purpose
Yeah.
for us.
I mean, my suggestion is we just drive it into the ground, like, because that will be soon. And then we can talk about a car. And we can talk about how much we actually use it. So Laura uses it a lot on pickups, deliveries for visitor guides, not just Middleton locations, but area locations, because it's cheaper for her to drive than for us to be shipping boxes of visitor guides to like Verona. And like just tomorrow, she's going to be in Mount Horeb and Fitchburg picking up things for us. And then,
And big bundle up is probably
oh my gosh, for the our
when we
clothing
do the
drive.
Clothing drive, I'm using that thing all the time
2-3
because I
times a
can
week.
fill it
Yeah.
within like a day. So,
And then for our conferences. So we'll have to figure out exactly how much we're actually driving. Is it cheaper for us to rent a vehicle for those conferences and work out something else? Or is it just, should we get a vehicle? The reason why we have the Flex though, is that when we do need a vehicle, we need something that we can actually haul things in. Because like the clothing drive boxes don't fit in our SUVs. I can fit one at a time. And we can at least fit like 4, I think, in the Flex. So it's an ugly but very efficient little car.
It's practical.
So grants, I did not change anything with grants because we have not exceeded any of our grants, which my hopes and dreams is that next year I come to you and go, we need to add money. But we're not there. In fact, this $125,000, that includes the $50,000 CXC grant. That when we approved that, it was coming out of tourism fund balance because again, we had anticipated shortfalls. And we've actually been taking it straight out of our revenue because we've been doing fine. And Phil said that it was a lot easier on the accounting side to do it this way. And I'm like, that's fine with us. Destination Madison payment, I updated this to what the 2023 payment was. I don't know where we're gonna be in 2024, but it'll probably be a little bit higher than this, for 2025. So that's one of those moving target numbers.
Incorrect.
Promotions, we're staying the same. And promotions is, it's like everything. It's merchandising, it's raffle baskets, it's like,
So like enter to win stuff.
Organic.
not the marketing stuff.
Okay.
But when you have a meeting or a convention and you want a big, like, $200 raffle basket.
Yeah,
that people put
yeah.
their business cards in, we'll sponsor those for people.
Okay.
Especially if they don't really qualify for grants anymore, we try to give them all the little perks that we can. Wages, this is a moving thing, so Bill will actually fill this out. This is based on the most recent calculations. Yeah, that's it for 3 people, an increase of less than $5,000 for 1 year. That's what we're basing it off of, and it's whatever the city decides, if they increase by 2% or 3% or whatever. I did ask, and we do not have the ability, even though we're paying for it ourselves, we don't have the ability to just say employees get a 4% increase.
You don't get any control over the city.
We have to fall under whatever the city decides for all employees, even though we're paying for it ourselves. They won't allow it. I can start a new employee at whatever I want because it's our money. But once I have you, I can't give merit raises and I can't do increases.
Why don't you guys all quit?
What if Laura wants to quit?
We've
and
thought
then
about
sit
it.
down?
Fine.
So
Everybody quit January 1.
Yeah.
They retire January 2.
this is going into like a personnel that maybe we shouldn't be online.
Jokes.
But that's
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Joking.
still kidding. But that's how that works. So the city decides what everything will be. Although I do think that this portion is probably pretty spot on. Salaries is the definite moving target because it's whatever the city decides to approve.
Mhm.
And then all of the other 3 will be adjusted. And this also isn't adjusted for the fact that I did raise the salary for the marketing manager. So it is a little bit higher than what we were paying. So this brings down to the final number, which I figured out because last year someone asked me and I couldn't do math in my head. It's roughly just a smidge over a 4% increase for the whole year.
Okay.
Overall. And the biggest parts of that are wages, advertising, and Destination Madison's partnership. And that is a nice segue to our Destination Madison contract is up at the end of this year. I've had 2 meetings with them now, and I just received an updated agreement amendment. And this will be a much larger conversation, which I'll have to, of course, pull you in on and possibly a couple of others to talk about. They have a standard, we have to pay 17%. And I'll talk more about this with you guys, especially on an individual basis. I don't want it to make it an open record conversation because some of it is, it's kind of like nothing is final and we're kind of in a negotiating phase right now. They are trying to work with us. And I'm fine with saying publicly, like my biggest concern is the sales portion. And so we aren't receiving post-event reports. I'm not really receiving any sort of a printout of like what actually is being booked via DM versus our own hotels, that kind of thing. And it's hard for me to make any sort of informed decision without any of that data. And so I'm trying to work on getting that. And so from a marketing perspective, I've been pretty happy with how things are going because that's 7% of it. The 10% going towards sales, I haven't seen what I would hope to see for the
Where are the
amount.
results?
I mean, because we're already looking at possibly $260,000 or more for a year. So where are we getting that? And Verona and Fitchburg are also partners, but their contribution, they're 17%. I of course don't know that number, but if you look at how many hotels they have versus us, we're probably about $150,000 more than they are in. And so that's where these conversations are going. And they've been wonderful to work with. We're all just trying to figure this out. A lot of the questions I've been asking have never been asked. So we're just trying to figure it all out.
Now, were the hotels supposed to be also getting an annual or discount on their annual
Yes,
dues?
and so from what she described, she said it should be $1 per room So if your hotel has 260 rooms, you get $260 off your membership fee.
Okay.
Look into that.
What's your
And
membership?
so I've got to,
I don't know, I'll have to look it back up. I mean, I looked it up a year ago.
yeah, I
did.
know, because everybody's was everywhere and it didn't seem to be
It didn't
tied
make
to
sense.
room
My three
numbers.
hotels were different rates as a cost per room. And I'm like, how do they come up with
Okay,
a
so
dollar
that's
figure?
how they figure it out, is like you pay cost per room. It's like,
That's what I thought, but when I did the calculations, that's not the
didn't
way
work
it
out.
works out.
And if you're paying a membership fee, you should be receiving the RFPs no matter what. But that is part of our 17% as well, as a seat on their, a rotating seat on their board and a rotating seat on their foundation board. And right now I'm serving on their board. But, so that is a much larger conversation, and I'll definitely be looping you guys in on that. And again, I mean, they've done some really cool stuff for us, like the Samantha Brown PBS special that had actually several minutes dedicated to the Mustard Museum. I would definitely say I've got to just get my hands around some of the reporting and the sales portion. Because again, and I've been very open about this from pretty much like the day I was hired, I let them know like I was going to be looking for these, because we've never audited our relationship with them, which goes back 20 plus years. And this is our 10th year with MASC. So it just makes sense to go back and go, what's working, what's not working, where do we need to move money around? Having marketing get 7% and sales get 10% was new. That they just changed that a couple, like 3 years ago. Before that, it was just 17% at DM, and they figured it out. And then MASC would come to us for grants constantly to be like, hey, we want to go to this trade show. We want to go to this trade show. And that's when we were like, well, let's just give them a piece of that pie. So they stopped coming to us for all those grants. And that worked out very, very well in the sense of making it easier. But now, and it's very possible, like once I get all the reports back, we'll be like, wow,
The return is great.
this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't sign another contract until I actually like know what I'm looking at. And we just don't have any of those things. And again, I think it's just, we just didn't ask all of those questions before. And also the relationship has evolved so much over the years. You know, in the beginning, in the beginning it was like 20 grand a year, and it was probably just basic marketing stuff and making sure that RFPs went out. And everything has been escalating, especially in the last few years. We have more hotels and DM, I mean, they've probably doubled their marketing staff. And so A, that costs money, and B, it also means there's a lot more stuff that they can do for you. So like there is a lot of value in the relationship.
You're still reporting.
Yeah, I just need numbers. For me, it gives me anxiety because like coming from marketing, you don't spend money you can't track. And I just haven't been able to track anything. And I'm like, where are my Excel sheets? I don't know what to do. So just quickly to go again, this is the budget, 1,483,000 and change. Very, very specific. I don't remember that. Oh, the 17 would probably came from this section. If we base it off of the 2023 revenue report, we made a little over 1.5 million in 2023, and just in tax revenue for us. And right now 2024 is tracking well on that. I mean, our Q1 was better and Q2 was looking really, really good. So I feel okay using 2023 as our marker. And in that sense, we would actually we would end up with more than $41,000 extra.
We're talking about adding 60.
Adding
We gotta
60.
add 60.
And it also doesn't include the fact that 50,000 for the CXC grant was originally supposed to come out of towards a fund balance. So that would give us 90 minus the 60 for the thing, we'd still be over 30-ish. Look at me mathing, just off the top of my head, right? But the important thing is like, that's the first time that I can tell you that I'm anticipating that number being green.
Yeah.
The last 2 years it was fantastic. But of course, we had no idea coming out of the pandemic
Yeah.
where we're going to be. But I feel like there's plenty of reason to be optimistic. And just in case you were wondering, like side by sides, I pulled this is the Q1 for 2023, and this was our Q1 2024. That's actually a significant jump for winter. Like for us. And this is what Q2 was, and I won't have Q2 for like 3 more weeks. So I'll let you know. Before our final budget, I will know what Q2 is. But I definitely feel like we had a really good April and May. And having Epic move was so good for everybody. Because we still got all of Epic. And then for the first time ever, we were able to book some graduation people because the rooms were available because Epic moved up. So that was fantastic.
Would have been, ideally, I would like to have seen graduation 1 week later.
Yeah. Yeah,
Give a little bit of a buffer
Yeah.
Overlap, yeah.
between the two events,
yeah, it was tough. We saw a
especially
little
for the
bit,
international travelers.
a little bit lighter occupancy this year too. I don't know if it's because of the extra keys downtown or maybe it was the protesting downtown that was keeping people away, but you know, it's always a great weekend. It just wasn't what it was 2 years ago, I guess.
The extra keys downtown, what does that mean?
Rooms? New hotel rooms, yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
figured.
Sorry.
But I just wanted to make sure, like,
Yeah, 400 additional keys downtown Madison, so.
they don't have extra
Between-
pianos.
No,
It's
no,
not
no.
keys.
No.
or-
But the new hotel that they just opened doesn't have like meeting space.
True,
It's-
but it's just the leisure travel, right?
Yeah.
Like you can, so the Embassy with 260, the Moxie, and then you've got the Sadlery that opened too, which
Mhm.
is that,
And they're all beautiful, but
They
they're
are.
spendy.
they're expensive. They're expensive,
So
but
come to Middleton.
we're keeping an
Get the
eye on
full
what that's doing,
experience.
so yeah, that's for
Less
sure.
money. Okay, so that's that's everything there. So the only thing from you guys is go ahead and add in that additional advertising money and we'll just see where that goes. And then in August, I won't know wages until the city, I'll just have whatever updates that they give me. And Destination Madison as well. It'll just be a guess. I'm guessing off of 2023. But everything else, I'll have it as solidified as possible because we are still looking at a couple of I think cleaning and windows and pest control, we know for a fact how much those will be. But there are a couple of other things that might adjust a little. So in August, we'll vote on the final approval of the 2025 budget and I'll have a Q2 financial report. So it'll be a double whammy of excitement.
Business, numbers.
That's right. But it'll hopefully be a very happy Q2 announcement. So, maybe we'll have snacks again. Again, fajitas, tapas, and bar. If you
I have to
haven't
say,
featured-
that is like the freshest tasting salsa. I would like that on record.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
They
You guys
have
are
a
missing
really-
out, and that was amazing
They have a
too.
really neat menu. It's like, it's not what you expect. Like they have some menu items that are very like different. And like Laura was saying, they have a lot more seafood than you would think. You're like, what? That's not really advertised. So check them out sometime. Yeah.
I definitely will. Real quick, I just want to say, first of all, I think we all know what budgeting is like, so good job. That was a very good presentation.
Laura is a very big help for this.
Yes, to you both. I'm doing this. Also, like congratulations. You guys are a staff member short. I understand that. You guys have done a fantastic job. Mara, you presented at the breakfast last week.
It was last week.
The numbers. So, I mean, the numbers look great. You guys are killing it. You guys are doing it with a skeleton crew. So, although the skeleton crew has a lot, like you guys have a lot of muscle behind you, just the two of you, but congratulations, great job. And then if there's any ways, you made a comment about the grants, like if there's any way that we can help get the word out to the right audience as a commission, that these grants are available, like lean on us to do that so that we can get that money out there so that people can bring their money back in. So
I was thinking actually of like pitching, the newspaper is constantly looking for ideas and like they're looking for some more positive ideas. And I was thinking of pitching that too as a story idea as soon as we get piece. So right now we have a meeting planner piece and we want to add a whole grant section to that. But I need to finish rewriting how the grants look because one of the issues with the grants is like almost all of them say like a 3-year cap. And yet we rarely adhere to that. So I think that it might actually prohibit some people from applying who are excellent repeat business. So we might just pull that out.
Yeah.
Because you guys as a commission can always say, listen, you guys have been here 10 years, you keep receiving the same grant, but the event isn't growing. We need to reserve the grants for, emerging new business, and the meeting planner will probably totally understand that.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm trying to think of anything that might be prohibiting people from applying.
Yeah, we just need to streamline it so it
Yeah.
doesn't look so
And
daunting.
I think people freak out when they hear post-event report, so I
Mhm.
just think I need to make like a little
Yeah,
PDF.
this is what we're expecting.
Yeah, like, this is all we're asking for.
Yeah.
I just need enough numbers to know like your event happened really, like, you don't actually have to pull everybody, but you have to like ask people, and we always ask about the facilities.
Yeah.
Because we wanna hear back, like, what do people like and what don't people like? And you can tell if it's just someone complaining or if it's like, oh, that's an issue and we need to talk about it. So, so anyway, that piece, once it's done, we'll have a PDF version online and printed for hotel staff. But then making that more accessible to anybody else, like the chamber would be perfect because you touch so many different people who might be having at-home meetings.
Well, and we have like our members who have event space, then we have a matrix that's like, here's everybody, here's like the capacity, catering in, whatever.
Mhm.
And like, there could be like right there, like, click
Yeah.
here, there are opportunities. I mean, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
I don't think that event planners are like clamoring to get to that page, but if they do,
No, that's
it's there.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. We could link
So-
to your page. We started that. We started our own grid years ago. I don't know if we have it updated.
We'll steal ours and then we can share it.
Yeah.
Like you can update what you know, and
Yeah, and I think Kristen has reached out sometimes
Okay.
just to like
of
cross
course
check.
she has.
Of course she has, yes.
Yes. Speaking of the teams, yours is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Love Fest.
well, seriously, I was at Get Moving Middleton last week and I was sitting at a table and there were people just talking about the chamber. And one gentleman I was sitting next to said he used to he's from Madison, belonged to the Madison Chamber, and just canceled his membership and stopped going because he's like, it's like 20 people, it's depressing. He's like, I come to Middleton, I actually meet new people every single time because it's huge. Are you guys the largest in the county, or are you the most well attended in the county? You're probably that.
So like the Latino chamber that state is bigger. Last I looked, we were third largest in the state.
Dang.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Very nice.
yeah. So yeah, we're pretty big.
Yep.
And the Hilton's a beautiful spot for it. When I walked in, I was like, oh, I hadn't been there since the grand opening. I'm like, oh, I forgot it's
We're
pretty.
getting on top of it, but your bacon twist? Oh
Yeah,
my God.
everybody.
I've never had one of those before.
Sad to see that.
The baking goes nuts, right?
Okay, well, Jose, did you want to add anything? Or did you have any questions? I feel like we've ignored you.
No, I'm fine. No
Okay.
questions here. Thank you.
All right.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
All those in
Miller.
favor?
Aye.
Bye.
A great evening, everybody.
Nice job, team. Nice
Thank
job.
you. See you later.
Staff. Holy cow. You made it halfway through the year.